It finally works. Well, that took 15 minutes. So apologies to anyone who was waiting to come in, and I see that someone is here. Thank you for finding me. I am Katie Roberts. I am running a variety of online art classes at the moment, so I thought I'd do a freebie on a Saturday afternoon. That's what this is. And we don't have very long now, given the time, because I have another class that starts in less than 15 minutes. So I might just talk you through some other approaches to drawing. And we have covered in the previous 3 lessons, we've talked about structure. And structure is a really great way to sort of underpin your knowledge of your subject matter before you approach the final work. So I find it very helpful to help me think of the object 3-dimensionally and to imagine it in those basic geometric forms of the cylinder, the sphere, the cube, or a variety of variations on those shapes. But there are other approaches too, and in fact I add them on after I've done some structural drawing. So I'm going to talk you through a couple of those just briefly and show you a couple of quick examples if I've got time. So let us see what our subject matter is today. So I have been drawing this rose, as you can see. Sorry, the light is very bright there. I hope that's a little bit better. Yes, it is. These beautiful blue moon roses that I picked from the garden. And this is the little bud has come out. They're absolutely beautiful. And I think you might have seen it last week when I was about to do this large drawing that's on the wall there. And it's not yet finished, but the flower, in fact, started failing before I finished the drawing because we had a very hot day. But the bud has come out, and the approach that I was going to talk to you about is called tonal mapping. And it's a method in which you look at the shapes that are made by the tone or the value in American art talk. It's often called value, but it actually means tonal value. There are all sorts of values in a subject matter, colour, tone, and the tone is how light or dark the subject is. Imagine that you took a black and white photocopy or photograph of the image, and you would be able to see it mapped out in shades of grey. And when it comes to tonal mapping, what you really do is you look at those shapes and you shade them in. And it's quite a sort of abstract way of working in a sense, because you lose maybe any attachment to what the object actually is, and you look into it to see what it's really, how it's described by light. So that's one way. The other approach is to look at positive, standing upright, positive and negative space. And that's particularly helpful if you've got a flower such as this beautiful one from our garden, the flag lily, which doesn't have that many petals. It's not too complicated in terms of a lot of information. It's also not got a lot of tonal variation within each one of those petals. But what it does have is it's got some really interesting negative spaces. So what negative space means, you need it against a dark background, not a light background for this to be visible. Let's just use my top to describe this. It's those passages of dark in between each petal. If you were to draw this, you would actually be better off, and to a large extent, drawing those areas of darkness behind the flower rather than spending too much attention just on the petals themselves. So in fine art, that balance between the positive and the negative space, that is the subject matter, and its background is really important. So I'm just going to do a quick little drawing. Let's see what we can get done before I have to teach my other class. And I wonder if anyone will find this. Hopefully some of my students. And just turn the camera to face down. And I'll be looking at the subject of the rose behind me. Let's see if I can do it so you can see it as well. You may not have the same view. So when it comes to tonal mapping, I'm squinting my eyes to see the large blocks of light and dark. Just turn that off so you can see more clearly. And I'm simplifying the form into basically just two shades, light and dark. This takes a while to get the hang of. And to be honest, it's quite ambitious to do this in 5 minutes, but let's see how we go. It is a live stream after all. You never know what will happen. Hopefully nothing disastrous. So I don't know if you can see, but I've sort of mapped out those zones. And I'm going to just quickly shade these in. I'm using a 2B so that you can see it. But to do this accurately, you really want to use a light pencil to start with and build up those areas of tone. This is my shading technique, which is quite helpful. And you can see I'm just blocking in the shading by trying to apply an even area of tone to those shapes that I have mapped out. And I'm actually looking at the positive and negative space here as well to get a sense of the form against the background. And this extends on last week's lesson where we were drawing sort of more of a daisy-shaped flower and looking at the way that the light fell onto one side and the rest was in shadow. Now you can refine these shapes, and in fact the best way to do this is to really pay attention to the tonal value. That is how light or dark each one of these greys is. I'm now putting in a few more nuanced greys. And this is how you achieve much more sort of realistic artwork. A lot of the time people think realism is about detail, but in fact it's much more about getting those tonal relationships accurate. I'll just finish it off before the end of the live stream. Adding the stem. And that will do just for the sake of this live stream. Yeah, that's probably a 5-minute drawing. So let me hold it up to you. And it's not detailed. It's very much blocked in. But hopefully you can see there's a sense of three-dimensionality in that shape. It may not be as accurate as I'd want it to be, but it's a really good start. And for a 5-minute tonal sketch, that's all you can really expect. So that is another approach to drawing realistically and from nature. If you're interested in any more of my art classes, I run a variety. You can check them out on my website, which I'll put the details for below. It's katiesartclasses.com. And I'm not sure if I'll continue these immediately. It's been really fun to do these live streams, and I hope to do some more in the future. So if you're interested to know when and where they might happen, obviously they'll happen here, but if you're interested to know when, you can subscribe to my mailing list using my email address, which I'll include below, or you can hit subscribe and the bell, and you'll get a notification on your YouTube when there's a video coming. So it's been lovely to do these with you. I hope you've enjoyed them, and it's lovely to have you in the studio. So happy drawing, If you'd like to know more about any of these techniques, please comment below and ask me, and I will be happy to respond. Happy drawing, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.